friendly neighborhood Wiley here. Today we're going to be talking about this whole controversy with this whole Little Mermaid situation. I'm going to start this off with letting Eric July from the Rippaverse and Young Ripper59 tell you about a tweet that was on Valentine's Day of this year, all the way the hell back in February, talking about how people are upset about the Little Mermaid situation.
Here's this. Folks mad about a mermaid being black, an alien being black, and an elf being black. At some point, can we collectively agree that you might just have something against black people because everything else mentioned does not exist in the world? In 2022, and if you're that against black people being cast in these roles, it says more than you think. Okay. So, a retard that is attempting to gaslight so many people that have taken issue with some of the depictions that are coming out. Now, you want to talk about context not being provided. Here's this. I'm guessing with the mermaid, she's talking about Little Mermaid who's been cast as a black person, despite Little Mermaid not being a black fucking person. It's based on a fucking Danish fairy tale, if I'm not mistaken in it. And there are a whole lot of things more white than that. And it also doesn't make sense canonically.
So basically, what you have is left-wing people lying. Again. I know. Let me put on my surprise face. This article was written on July 9th of 2019. This article is talking about how a black Little Mermaid, will it flip the script on white actresses in Hollywood? Nearly 2 decades after he helped bring back the movie musical with Best Picture Oscar, Chicago, director Rob Marshall has made it. Who the hell is Rob Marshall? Is white! Just so we all know. This director is a white man who decided to cast a black woman as a Little Mermaid, Ariel. The point I want to make here is why he did it. And that's it right there. Director Rob Marshall has made Hollywood history again. Here's the thing about Hollywood people. I know this because I grew up with them. They are of the mistaken impression that everything's been done. They're wrong as hell. The only way anybody can seem to get any traction in an industry that largely operates on you getting a job based on the strength of the last success you had. So, this dude wants to recapture the attention of Hollywood, wants to feel like he made a difference, and wants to get noticed and get attention. That's the big one. Attention! You have corrupt people at Disney, and you have a selfish, attention-seeking, corrupt individual who's the director. They both decide the easiest and best way to get attention is this. So, they go into this article, and they talk about how we've seen one animated Disney princess before. Tiana in 2009's Princess and the Frog. I like that movie. I don't necessarily say I love that movie, because again, not made for me. But the jazz elements and the New Orleans influence of that movie, I love that movie when I watched it. I thought it was great. It was great. Music was fantastic. Southern Delta jazz and the blues and all of that is amazing musical style. And that's one of the few things, given the unfortunate history of this country, it's one of the few things that black people own. They own that shit. There's some few white artists here and there, but that and the blues is genuinely black. And it's great. Not to mention that whole musical style has had huge effects on the hip-hop industry and a whole bunch of other things, the funk of the 70s, all that mess. But, yeah. The thing that really people should notice about what they're talking about here, and includes Moana, and I'll get into that in a second, all of these movies take the viewer into that culture, into that world. They help the audience escape from the natural, normal daily life into that culture and into that world, and exposes the audience to a culture and a world and a way of thinking and a way of being that is different from that audience, the overall massive majority of that audience's daily experience. That's why they work. They immerse you into that thing that is different from your daily life. I'll tell you right now, I have a friend, really good friend, in Ohio. His daughter's white, blonde hair, blue eyes, and she cannot get enough of that movie. Not recently, I haven't heard it, but I'd say from about a year ago till about 2-3 years ago, good stretch of a few years, like whenever I would game with him on Xbox, in the background, I would hear Moana. She was watching it constantly. She's not Polynesian, but she could identify parts of the character and the songs that she really liked. And I never really heard another Disney movie. I don't recall ever hearing The Little Mermaid. You don't have to look like a damn character in order to identify with a character. That is a narrative pushed by Hollywood that's full of shit. How do I know? I don't look like a coyote. Love that character. I don't look like a member of the Klingon race, played by a black man or a white man. Love those characters. Those are two of the three biggest role models I had growing up, including the African American captain on Deep Space Nine, Captain Benjamin Sisko, played by Avery Brooks, and Lieutenant Commander Worf, played by Michael Dorn. Two of my biggest role models growing up. Absolutely love them. Love them. Neither one of them is white. So this whole thing where you have to look like somebody in order to identify is bullshit. It's all bullshit. This is not giving us a new culture and a new world and a new story. This is hijacking a current one for political reasons. And not only political, financial laziness reasons. See this right here? They would have you believe. This is the first Black Mermaid. They're lying. Oh, they're like, it's the first one prominently featured in a film. Sure. And everyone who disagrees with it is racist. Fuck you. See this? Pirates of the Caribbean 4 on Stranger Tides. This movie has mermaids in it that are black. And no one had a problem with it. There was zero controversy. You're like, oh, well, maybe they didn't show them on screen. They were in the background. Bullshit. Right there. In live and in color in your TV screen. Jumping out at you. It's a great scene, by the way. You should watch it. Highly recommend. I would play it, but, Disney and copyright. 35,000 upvotes, 972 downvotes. Versus the new trailer with Ariel being black, 1.5 million downvotes. Versus, I want to say, it started out being 30,000 upvotes, and now they're rallying because they got to support their fucking product. So, you get the bots in it, and now we're up at 100,000 upvotes, but it's still 100,000 to 1.5 million downvotes. So why is it that people are perfectly okay with this Black Mermaid, but not that Black Mermaid? Well, it's very simple. Because this is a hijacked character. So, this article makes a point to mention that some of these other legends of mermaids are from Africa, which is great. I didn't know this. I'm learning. Often depicted as a queenly mermaid, Yamaya, and her name is spelled different ways as we go along, including as Yamoja, so I'm not entirely sure how it's pronounced, and I'm a stickler for pronunciation, so bear with me. I'm hoping whoever watches this might be able to tell me in the comment section whether it is Yamaya or Yamoja. and exactly how to pronounce it with specific, the accent. Because I like to learn how things are correctly pronounced. So, this article was written on the 6th of July, 2019. 3rd of July, 2019. 3 days before this article was written. This man, and sadly, I don't know who he is, but what he writes is fantastic. This man, having seen the controversy on Twitter about this whole thing 3+ years ago, decided to proffer up this as an alternative. And it's a good one. Because I'm talking about the Yoruba religion from West Africa. Yoruba comprises of traditional practices and spiritual concepts, which has evolved into a robust religious system comprised of gods or orishas, or I don't know if it's a rolled R, orishas? Or orishas? Not sure. Or orishas? Someone please tell me in the comment section because I feel real stupid, and I don't like feeling stupid. So, this man proffers up this. The one most pertinent to our conversation is Yamaya. So what he is trying to say here, and I know that only got 337 likes. What he's trying to say here is, see this here? We have this from Africa already. Why do we need to do this? Why do we need to take this here, take white people shit, and put a black person into white people shit? We have our own shit, and it's better. The original, this is a carving on a wall at a park in Nigeria, the Osun Osogbo Grove in Nigeria. Look at it. There's artwork and statues you can buy of this person. According to myth, when her waters broke, it caused a great flood, creating rivers and streams, and the first mortal humans were created from her womb. So that's interesting. You can't depict that in a Disney movie, but that's interesting. I never heard of that before. So apparently this one, according to their beliefs, she was a goddess who gave birth to people, and when her waters broke, those waters went downriver and created the major river of Nigeria, the Ogun River. Now again, I understand this is not Disney movie material, but it's fascinating as hell. I never heard of that before. I love learning new shit. Hey, look at this. Look at the artwork. It's a tarot card with her on it. Hey, look at this. This is fantastic artwork. Look, there's a couple of other goddesses that I don't know anything about. Would love to. Look at all that. That one's cool. That one's really cool. I'm sure there's a name for the skirt/dress from that culture that I don't know what it is. But the way that it flows around her body and then flows upwards into a wave. God, the image. It's amazing. And even if that one wasn't good enough, you also have one in South Africa, Mami Wata, or Mami Wata. East, West, South Africa, man-eating Mondau. Again, it's a river deity from Zimbabwe that, just like in the movie Pirates, jumps up out the water and snatches your ass up into the water. Bah! You know, all these options. But instead of any of these, we gotta go and do that. Why? We can make a new thing. Actually, genuinely from African folklore. With a story people ain't heard. And background characters, I'm sure, that people ain't heard. Could have had this. They went for this because this requires effort. You have to send people down to the Caribbean or over to Africa. They have to talk with people. They have to write all these details down. They have to figure out the backstory. They have to get as much information as possible, which, by the way, is precisely what they did with The Lion King. They sent the whole damn animation team over to Africa for like a month or 2 months, 3 months, whatever it was, so that they would sit in front of the actual animals and draw the animation so that would be as realistic as humanly possible. You couldn't send nobody down to the Caribbean or over to Africa? Couldn't be bothered? You couldn't send nobody down to the Caribbean or over to Africa? Couldn't be bothered? Lazy. Fucking lazy. And that's namely what I'm calling you on, is your laziness. And your political fuckery after the laziness, but especially the laziness. The fact that you feel the need to do this instead of this, in reality, makes Disney and everyone associated with this, and everyone pushing it and defending this, to be the ones who are actually racist. Because if you actually cared about black people, their history, their culture, and everything else, you would have gone with this. The actual racist in this situation is fucking Disney for not giving you, and little black girls who want to be inspired by this, not giving them this. The real deal. Not this cookie cutter sad excuse bullshit ripoff of a white character. You could have given little black girls the real motherfucking deal. But that would have required effort on your part. And you didn't want to put in effort or spend the money to pay people to put in effort to figure out how to make this marketable. It really wouldn't have been that hard. Especially with the element of slavery in it, since this goddess was carried across the ocean by slaves. And they kept this tradition and this belief alive. Here, Disney, I'll give you a free script story pitch. Girl from New York who is of Haitian ancestry finds out that a relative in Haiti died. Has to go down to Haiti. Attends the funeral. After the funeral, sitting on the beach, crying because her relative is gone. Probably a female, older relative, grandma, aunt, whatever. Gone. While she's sitting there crying on the beach, this deity appears and takes her on an adventure. I just wrote your damn movie for you, and it cost me nothing. And that would have been watchable. Well, it would have been either great, good, or epic, depending on the quality of the script involved, and the change of character from the beginning, because the little girl on the beach that I just mentioned would have had to have undergone some sort of positive character change during the arc of that story, and depending on the nature of that change would have made it either a good story or a bad story. But regardless, just start off with that pitch. Daughter of a Haitian immigrant has to go back home to Haiti, a place which is never really featured in any Hollywood movie, ever. That place has a fascinating history, good and bad. So you could have showed us that whole culture. Little black girls everywhere inspired. But nope. Instead, you want to pull this shit. And when people get mad at you, which you know is going to happen, oh, it's racist, it's racist, it's racist. No, fuck off. You know damn well what you're fucking doing. I'm not blaming the actress, because the actress is a young actress who's just trying to climb the ladder of Hollywood. So most people in her position would have taken the role. You can't really blame her. I don't know if she's good or not. I never seen her in anything because I don't watch the things that she's probably been in. But it's not about her. It's about the studio using her to do this shit when they could have cast the same actress in that. No controversy. But see, without a controversy, people don't talk about it, at least not in the same numbers. Twitter doesn't explode over it. And you don't get your free marketing. This is the new strategy of Hollywood. And yes, I'm aware that making this video, I'm participating in that. My usual preference for shit like this is to ignore it, which is what I've done with Star Trek when they fucking woke shitted that. But with this Disney shit, so you've already had black mermaids, no controversy. So it's not about racism. Secondly, this is what you could have had. Look at that. Look at that. It's amazing. So, to all my black friends out there watching this is what you could have had if Disney wasn't so fucking lazy and if they actually gave a fuck about you. But instead, they'd rather steal a white character and give you sloppy seconds of that shit. And make you believe that all white people who have a problem with it are racist. Yeah, no. Fuck you. And fuck your fraudulent narrative. Unfortunately, I don't anticipate the pattern of this getting better anytime soon, because these people really don't know how to do anything else because they're creatively fucking bankrupt. So this is just gonna keep happening. The lying and the bullshit is just gonna keep happening. You could have had this if anyone had actually given a shit about you Look at God, look at that. Wow. The sharks behind it and everything. Oh my God. Look at it. Look at that. Look at this. Look at the artwork. That's gorgeous. Even that one's really good. Wow. Anyway, you could have had that. But Disney decided, fuck you. We're going to take something we already made. We're going to remake it with a couple of changes, add some feminism, rehash it, reserve it to the public. And if they don't like it, we'll call them a bunch of fucking racists. So, at any rate, that's all I have for today. I hope this stuff gets better, but I'm not going to hold my breath for it. I hope you all have a wonderful day.